Mostly. The voyage back was a disaster. The Maharaja insisted on steering the boat, nearly ramming a coral reef. One of the daughters, Princess Kaylee, took a liking to Pringle, who proceeded to fall overboard twice out of sheer nervousness. When they reached Sapphire Atoll, Maverick threw a grand dinner. However, because the crew had borrowed the entertainment, the Maharaja's daughters ended up performing a traditional moonstone dance that looked suspiciously like a Hawaiian hula, much to Bluster's horror. "You see," Bluster shouted, storming out of the infirmary in his bathrobe. "He's turned my base into a cabaret. Arrest them all." But the Maharaja was laughing. "Nonsense, Bluster. This is the most fun I've had since I was exiled. Maverick is a genius. I shall tell the Grand Admiral he is the finest officer in your navy." Bluster fainted this time for real. Chapter 4. The Laughing Gas Gambit. A few weeks later, a new crisis emerged. Maverick had a wisdom tooth that was causing him agony, which in Maverick speak meant he wanted an excuse to visit the base dentist and avoid a particularly boring inventory drill. He returned from the infirmary in a state of euphoric bliss. Thanks to a heavy dose of nitrous oxide, he was giggling at a palm tree and trying to salute a passing seagull. "Skipper's high on the happy juice," Gruber observed, "and just in time. Bluster has convened a fitness board for Mr. Pringle. He's going to break him down to seaman second class because Puddles accidentally torpedoed a garbage scow. We gotta jolly him up," Maverick giggled, leaning against a crate of ammo. If the Commodore felt this good, he'd promote Puddles to Admiral. The crew hatched a plan. They stole a tank of laughing gas from the dental clinic and rigged it to the ventilation system of Bluster's office. The morning of the hearing, the Grand Admiral sat in the corner, looking like he was carved out of granite. Bluster stood up, ready to deliver the killing blow to Pringle's career. "Gentlemen," Bluster began, "we are here to discuss the incompetence of Junior Lieutenant Pringle. He is a disgrace to the uniform. He is. Bluster stopped. He took a deep breath. A strange, ticklish sensation began in his toes. "He is." A real hoot. Bluster started to giggle. Then he started to roar with laughter. "And that garbage scow. Did you see the potato peels fly? It was like a ticker tape parade." "Ha ha ha ha." The Grand Admiral blinked. "Commodore, are you quite all right?" "I'm magnificent," Bluster shouted, dancing a little jig. "Pringle, you're a genius. You're my Chucky Wucky. I love you. I love everyone." The Grand Admiral turned to Maverick. "Commander, what is wrong with him?" "Combat fatigue, sir," Maverick said solemnly, though he was vibrating with suppressed laughter. "The strain of command has finally snapped the poor man's springs." The hearing was cancelled. Pringle was given a commendation for unorthodox target practice, and Bluster was ordered to take a 2-week mandatory vacation. Chapter 5. The Curse of the Scallywag. Bluster returned from his vacation with a vendetta. He had discovered the laughing gas plot and was determined to break Maverick's crew once and for all. His new plan? Superstition. He began planting rumors that the Scallywag was a jinxed boat. He fabricated a history showing that every crew of the S-13 had met a watery grave. He even painted a giant 13 on the hull during the night. The crew was rattled. "Maybe she is a Jonah, Skip," Virgil muttered. "I broke a mirror in the galley this morning, and a black cat walked across the pier." Maverick knew he had to act. He staged a ghost ship routine. He had the crew dress in white sheets and haunt Bluster's quarters during a thunderstorm. Wally Bluster." Maverick moaned through a megaphone, hidden in the bushes. "We are the ghosts of the S-13. We've come for your garter belts." Bluster screamed and dove under his bed. "Go away! Take the transfers! Take anything!" By morning, the crew had their original hull number back, and Bluster was too embarrassed to ever mention the word jinx again. Chapter 6. The Neo Caledonia Cape. The final showdown took place in Neo Caledonia. The Grand Admiral had sent Maverick and the Scallywag to pick up the base payroll, $62,000, in small, unmarked bills. "It's a setup," Maverick warned Pringle. "Bluster wants us to lose that money. He's probably got half the French underworld waiting for us." Pringle, as expected, lost the money within 10 minutes of landing. He was distracted by a girl with a heart-shaped birthmark on her ankle and ended up getting hit over the head with a baguette. "The money's gone," Pringle wailed, "and the Commodore is already here." He followed us in a seaplane. The chase was on through the narrow, winding streets of Noumea. It involved a stolen jeep, a fruit stand explosion, and a very confused monitor lizard named Barnaby that Maverick had adopted as a mascot. Barnaby the lizard had a habit of eating anything that wasn't bolted down. He had snatched the payroll bag from the real thieves and was now waddling toward the harbor. Bluster was hot on their heels. "I've got you now, Maverick. Theft of government funds. You're going to Leavenworth for 100 years. They cornered Barnaby at the edge of a pier. "He ate it," Pringle screamed. "The lizard ate the payroll." "Don't be ridiculous," Bluster sneered. "That's just another one of your lies." "Pati, Gati, Tati, Ayog Sansi. Tati, Tati Laza. Gati, Kati Laza." Just then, a passing Allied bomber dropped a practice flare nearby. The shockwave caused Barnaby to startle. The lizard scrambled into an old, decommissioned cannon on the pier. Pringle, in a moment of desperate brilliance, lit the fuse. Boom! The cannon fired, but instead of a ball, a cloud of green paper erupted over the harbor. It was raining $20 bills, $50 bills, thousands of them, fluttering down like confetti on the stunned Commodore. The Grand Admiral, who had just stepped off his seaplane, looked at the spectacle. "Well, Bluster, I see you found a very festive way to distribute the payroll. Unorthodox, but certainly good for morale." Bluster stood there, covered in $100 bills, his mouth hanging open. Maverick winked at the lizard. "Just doing our duty, sir," Maverick said, saluting. "The scallywag always delivers." Epilogue. As the sun set over Sapphire Atoll, the crew of the scallywag sat on the pier, sharing a celebratory drink. Barnaby the lizard was happily munching on a peanut butter sandwich. In his office, Commodore Bluster was staring at his reflection in the window. His eyebrows were finally starting to grow back, but he knew that as long as Jack Maverick was on his base, his stomach would never truly be at peace. "Wow," Bluster whispered to the empty room. The war went on, but on Sapphire Atoll, the scallywags were still in command. The Chronicles of Sapphire Archipelago. Chapter 1. The Garter Belt Crisis and the Iron Admiral. The Sapphire Archipelago was a cluster of tropical moons orbiting the gas giant Viridian 4. It was beautiful, humid, and home to the most disorganized naval outpost in the United Galactic Fleet. At the center of this chaos was High Commander Barnaby Bluster, a man whose blood pressure was currently high enough to power a small starship. "Wow, wow, wow," Bluster screamed, his face turning a shade of purple that matched the local flora. "Garter belts, Vance. You are the chief supply officer of this quadrant. If the medic nurses need garter belts for their formal gala, you snap to it, shake a leg, or whatever it is. People shake these days." Across the desk sat Captain Jax Viper Vance, leader of the Misfit Marauders. Vance was leaning back, looking entirely too relaxed for a man being screamed at. His crew, the crew of the Starskipper 73, were known for two things: winning impossible battles and breaking every regulation in the handbook. "Sir," Vance said smoothly, "we're in the middle of a nebula war. Garter belts are a bit low on the priority list compared to, say, plasma fuel." "I don't care." Bluster slammed his desk. "Everything is on my shoulders. And now, the final nail in my coffin. I just got a priority transmission. Fleet Admiral Iron Joe Sterling is arriving today for a sneak inspection." Bluster's aide, a jittery young man named Lieutenant Pringle, gasped. "The sinks in the officers' club are backing up with purple sludge, and the local wildlife is nesting in the hangar." Bluster clutched his stomach. "My acid levels could melt through a hole." "Pringle, give me those pills." "No, wait. If I'm sick, I can't be inspected, and if I'm sick, I can appoint an acting base commander." A wicked glint appeared in Bluster's eyes. He looked at Vance. "Vance, you're always complaining about my leadership. How would you like to be in charge while I recover in the infirmary? Vance blinked.